So there's quite a big difference.
There's a huge difference. Suki, stay with us. I want to welcome Adam Khan, who's a personal trainer and a fitness enthusiast and a weight loss coach as well. Adam, welcome to the Asian Network. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. It's great to have you with us. So I understand you believe the whole body positivity movement has been, and I think this is the word you used, hijacked. Tell me what you mean by that.
I do, yes, but thankfully it's a relief to hear the guests on here today. They've not taken that stance. Mm-hmm. The people that I've seen, like the names mentioned, Tess Holiday and that clique, if you go on Instagram, you'll see that they've almost taken a very militant approach, similar to the kind of people that you're speaking about on this show.
On the show tonight, yeah, who are you calling fat on BBC Two, yeah.
Yeah, so they've taken that approach. And they're normalizing obesity, not being overweight. I mean, you can be perfectly healthy, and I'm shooting myself in the foot here because I'm a personal trainer. You can be perfectly healthy and be overweight. But when it gets to like BMI of 30 plus, mm-hmm. then it becomes a health concern. And the likes of Tess Holiday, they're morbidly obese, and they're trying to normalize obesity. And they're discouraging people from trying to lose weight.
And that's what you have a problem with. Adam and Suki, I want to just play something to you. So, the reason we referenced this at the start of the conversation, and we also heard from Del, is, of course, Del took part in a BBC Two program called Who You Calling Fat? Now, there was someone on there called Victoria, and Victoria was probably, I'd say, the most outspoken in terms of saying she believed that individuals have an absolute right to be overweight, and she said that she doesn't appreciate the term obesity. She thinks it shouldn't be used. She found it really offensive, and she was asked about health implications, and this is what she had to say.
Health, you can't define it. It's a social construct. Health doesn't exist.
Surely you would prefer your body in that respect.
If you're saying, would I prefer to have mobility, that's an ableist question, because you're asking me to say that my body is more valuable than their body because I am able-bodied.
No, I'm not. I'm asking what your personal preference would be.
It's ableist. That's like saying, would I prefer to be able-bodied or live in a wheelchair?
Right. 1, 2, 3. And that's it in.
I'm asking what your preference would be. Surely you would rather not have mobility issues.
I'm not going to answer the question.
So right at the end there, she just says, I'm not going to answer the question. Adam, when you hear that, I don't know if you watched it. That was in yesterday's episode. When I watched that, my jaw was on the floor. I imagine a lot of people's jaw was on the floor. She says raising the health issues is problematic because, in her words, health is a social construct. Adam, you're a personal trainer. What would you say to Victoria?
I mean, people like that to me are like the equivalent of flat earthers,
Right.
in the fitness industry, because they're denying medical facts. I mean, health is defined by medical professionals, and it's ridiculous to say that having an excess weight isn't going to have an effect on your health. And I'd like to ask her and unpick how she defines health, because we know after a certain body weight, you're more susceptible to diabetes, strokes, certain cancers, joint problems, skin issues, sleep apnea, and that's just the physical side. But then there's the other emotional problems that come along with it. Some people lacking confidence. I mean, that's a personal issue. Mm-hmm. But then if you've got children, I help busy professional dads who are obese lose weight, and many of them have got issues in their relationships. They've got concerns that they're not able to play with their children in the manner that they'd like, or if they go to the park, they have to sit on the bench because they can't keep up with the children, and these kind of things affect them emotionally. So all of those issues, you can't just wish them away because you want to deny that having an excess amount of weight will affect you.
Of course. And, just to be absolutely clear, we're not going to say, there's a range of opinion. There isn't a range of opinion when it comes to the health implications. The facts are the facts. And the fact is, if you are morbidly obese, you're at much higher risk of things like type 2 diabetes, of angina, of heart problems, and a whole wealth of other conditions. And that is just fact.
Yeah, and that's absolute fact. And from diabetes, there's many other issues that stem from that. You can have skin problems, amputation, you can lose your eyesight, you can have impotence issues. So there's many problems that can stem from those things. I mean, now the other thing I wanted to clarify as well. I mean, as a trainer and as a coach, I believe wholeheartedly in body positivity as it was intended. And also, I tell everybody that you want to nourish your body and take care of your body because you love it, not because you hate it. Because if you're coming from a position of hate, it's not a productive place to be. So I always say, look, you're doing it because you love your body and because you appreciate it, you want to take care of it.
Yeah, I completely hear that, and I'm sure a lot of people listening will be able to relate to that. We're going to wrap this up in a moment, but Suki, I want to know from you, you had a life-changing event, and as you were saying a little bit earlier, you went through a lot of your life being overweight, with people perhaps sniggering at you, making comments, and that didn't in any way motivate you and give you what you needed to actually lose weight. That process started in 2011 when you had a heart attack. Now, tell me what you were faced with. Tell me what the options were, and tell me how you moved forward.
So the what I was faced with, basically, like I said to you, the doctor turned around to me and said that you got 5 years to turn this round, or you're a goner, basically. You find your family and everyone's going to lose you, and you're going to lose your own life. As a result of your poor lifestyle and the way you're sort of driving your body into the ground. So basically what happened then was that my brother was close friends with a personal trainer in Hitchin who came round to see me after I'd had my heart attack. So similar kind of background to your other guest. And he basically came around and said that, I can help you turn this around, but you've got to basically leave it in my hands, i.e. you've got to do everything I'm going to ask you to do. Yeah?
Right.
And so,
you're going to have to listen to me.
Yeah, so basically you have to listen to me. So it was a process of an exercise program, which at the time was just 3 5-minute walks on a treadmill a day, and I was basically getting out of breath, and I was really struggling to even do that. And then also a diet plan with it. So this diet plan was put together, but the key thing about the diet plan was that it wasn't just me who done the diet; my whole family done the diet with me.
Right.
Yeah. To help me along.
So everyone got involved.
Everyone got involved. It wasn't like that. I was going to have, let's say, quinoa and a bit of dal, and everyone else was sitting there having plantain. Yeah?
That was never going to work.
That was never going to work. So, they would have that dal and they would have that quinoa with me. Yeah. And so there was a real strict eating plan. Portion control was a big thing for me because I had a habit of having a big bowl and filling it right up to the rims. So one of the things that the nutritionist told me was that buy some smaller bowls in the house. Fill it up to the rim if you want. Yeah. Yeah. But it should be a smaller portion. Yeah. And you see, still got it in your mind that you've got a full bowl or something. And then one thing I totally knocked on the head was roti. And the bread butter. So for about 2 to 3 years, I didn't have roti.
You didn't have that. I mean, Suki, the thing is that what rings true in everything you're saying is that you ultimately, yes, you were supported, yes, your family got involved, but you ultimately took on the responsibility. And no matter what anyone says, I'm sure anyone would acknowledge that you wouldn't have progressed if it wasn't for your willpower. You are testament to your willpower. So what I really want to understand, and this speaks to our kind of key question today, ultimately, what was it that allowed you to take responsibility?
For me, the big thing was that if I didn't do anything about it, then my family would have lost me and I would have lost them. Yeah, that was my biggest driver. Yeah, that I wanted to bring my life back on track, to be there for my children and be there for my family and vice versa, So not to lose that.
Right.
And
so it was the kind of practicality and the fear of just no longer being around.
No longer being around, exactly, yeah.
I hear that. So I've got the same question for both of you. Adam, I'm going to ask you this first, and then Suki, I want you to have the last word. So Adam, first of all, if there are people listening right now, and perhaps they've got a family member, a loved one who is overweight and big, and they've had the conversation a million times, they've said, look, you really need to look at this, and they don't know how to support them. Or if there's someone listening who's in that position themselves, they know that it's a problem, but they just can't seem to motivate themselves to make those changes. Adam, speak directly to those people. What would you say to them?
Okay, first of all, I'd ask them to brainstorm what their values are. And once they've decided on what their 3 or 4 key values are, and that could be family, faith, children, whatever it is, once they've decided on that and so that this is what I really value, okay, then they have to ask themselves, how can they tie their health goals to those values? So it'll be, for example, men of my age, 40, 35 and plus, if for them, they can tie their family to their health goals by asking themselves, if I continue down this road in 5 or 6 years, what would happen to me? They might suffer from a heart attack or diabetes, and so they won't be around for their children or to see their grandchildren, or even if they are, they might be in such a state that they can't really, if anything, they end up as a burden on the family rather than being the supportive, role model father that they want to be. So once they've decided that, now it's given them a strong purpose. Because if it's just, and this is why I choose to work with people that are older, because when you're younger, it's just a six-pack or a bigger biceps. And as soon as things get tough, they give up because their purpose isn't strong enough. So I do with the older people that I work with. I get them to really dig for their values, then tie their why or their purpose to that, and that gives them the emotional triggers to then execute on whatever it is we're going to do.
Brilliant. So think about your values and how that ties onto what you need to do health-wise to make those. That's brilliant, Adam. Suki, last word to you. Speak directly to those people that are listening right now. My advice would be that don't look at it as a mammoth task. It is a mammoth task, but don't look at it like that. It's all make little steps and make little changes, and then start to add them all together. So get out and start doing some exercise. Change your lifestyle, change your food eating habits, and make some little changes, and then start to add them up and add to it. And then slowly you start to build together. Once I started making all those things, I just naturally started to feel better. Just physically, just like feeling, the whole body started to feel cleaner and better. So, and you just make those little changes, and then, before you know it, it'll start snowballing. It starts snowballing, and then, and then you're on the right track. That's brilliant, Suki. Listen, you and Adam, you've both been really inspiring to listen to. And this is, it's a difficult subject because I think, when we started the show today, we were saying we're not in the business of shaming anyone. That doesn't help anyone. At the same time, we don't want to just have a discussion where we're saying, yeah, everything's okay and there's no parameters, because this is a really serious problem that affects people's lives. So, Suki, thank you so much for sharing your story. And Adam as well, thank you for giving us that perspective. Really, really appreciate it. You can still get in touch with us. Maybe you watched the show a little bit earlier today. It's called Who Are You Calling Fat? It's just gone out on BBC Two. Maybe you've got an opinion on something you've heard tonight. You can still get in touch on 81869. You can tweet at BBC Asian Network. We are in the twilight of the show. In a little bit, we will be exploring one of your dilemmas. Right now, this is a former track of the week. It's called Gluttony, and it's by Shreya.